Hello, love bugs, and welcome back or welcome to your new favorite show, Dear Ex, One Last Thing. A podcast for all your relationship mishaps, unspeakable moments, embarrassing crash outs, and of course, juicy revenge. Before we jump into any of that today, I just wanted to do a small check-in with the listeners. I wanted to go ahead and share some exciting news that I had brought up a while back. We officially have our business and information cards, and I couldn't be more excited with how they turned out. I will be giving them to every single person I see. I saw these group of girls at a cafe recently, and all they were talking about was they probably were 17, and all they were talking about was who is with who and why they shouldn't be together, why they should stay together, or what he did that was so sweet, or how he's a manipulator and how she deserves better and she actually deserves worse. And I was like, this would be the perfect time to hand out these cards. But now I have them. I'm going to keep them in my purse. And if you've seen that one recent movie, what's it called? It's with Pedro Pascal and the dude who plays Captain America and the girl that's in Madam Web. What is that movie called? It just came out. She hooks people up. Anyways, there's a scene in the movie where she's walking past this guy and the guy checks her out and she turns around and she's like, "Hey, are you single? I hook people up for a living. You should give us a call." That's going to be me. "Hey, do you have relationship issues? You should write in to my podcast." Very excited. Thanks for supporting so that we could get to this point. But without further ado, let's jump into the reason you guys are all here. Today's episode is like no other. Our sender writes not to an ex, but instead to us, coming to us for advice. Her workout coach was flirting with her, even though he's married with a 1-year-old. She brushed it off, but recently she saw something he reposted on Facebook, a post from his wife's account for their son's birthday party. She saw them together. She saw the wife's face, name, account, and she couldn't help but wonder if she should say something to her or just leave it alone. Now she comes to us to help her make that choice. Before we jump into it, I of course want to thank her for feeling like this was a safe enough space to come to us with this question and share this very difficult predicament that she's in. I hope that we could give her clarity, and I ask for all the listeners to remain kind and open-hearted while listening to her side of the story. She writes in, "I'm in my younger 20s and I've been playing sports my whole life, but these last 4 years I've had an off and on relationship with exercise. I didn't play sports in college and honestly found a lot of exercise boring. Running a treadmill, truthfully boring. Weightlifting, maybe exciting for a month, but I'd always end up getting out of the groove. I'd work out for a couple months and then be out of the gym for double that time. The only thing I knew that I liked that I had done a couple times in high school and the beginning of college was workout classes. After the ending of my most recent breakup, like any other person, I began to dive headfirst into self-betterment, starting with finding exercises I actually enjoyed. I tried some free intro classes, canceled my Planet Fitness membership because I never went, and finally settled on a place in the city. My intro class to that gym was with a guy coach, their head coach that we'll call Jay. I got to the gym early so I could get a small tour and introduction, and then I met with the head coach who's going to be training me that day. We had a short conversation before class, and I remember him mentioning his wife. I remember noting that it felt like he was a good guy for making sure he mentioned her in a convo early on with a woman that he didn't know. I remember that it put me on ease. I'm someone who gets hit on often at the grocery store, the gas station, my job, events. I was excited to have a space where I could go and not have to worry about having that guard up. I took the class with several other people, followed his instructions, and he checked on me periodically to make sure I was doing okay. It was all very professional. I left excited for my new journey. I continued scheduling classes on his schedule because I enjoyed the first one so much, and I knew that he was the head coach, so in my mind, that kind of meant he was the best. Plus, I had taken one other class with another coach at that gym, and remember wanting to walk out mid-class because I hated it so much. So I figured if my formula is not broken, why should I fix it? Why should I keep trying to go with other people if I enjoy his classes? I felt like I was finally getting into my groove. I was proud of myself for showing up, and I was excited about this new era for myself. Because I was this giddy and joyful during class, I often found myself singing along to the music that was playing on the speakers. The coach would come up and make small talk with me, sometimes me more than other students, but I figured this was just because I was new and they wanted to keep clients by making them feel important. The front desk was very friendly and inclusive as well, using my name to greet me and say goodbye to me, and I thought nothing of any of this. Our classes always ended with stretching, and sometimes I'd stay a little longer, feeling like it wasn't enough time to truly cool down, especially because I had an injury not too long ago. The coach and I would talk, but mostly small talk about work or the area or his son. I remember mentioning that I bartend, and sometimes it feels like fake therapy. You listen to these guys not knowing why their wife was leaving them after they only cheated once, or, how they didn't even love that girl. It wasn't even that serious, and their wife should understand. I talked about the creepy guys that would hit on me, and he'd laugh about it. We would make fun of them together. We did end up getting a bit closer where the conversation could move to playful jabs about zodiacs or morning versus night people, but again, our conversations never lasted over 5 to 10 minutes. The first time I thought he might be flirting with me was when I mentioned that I was moving, and he seemed genuinely fearful and asked how far. I said I wasn't sure, but I still planned to go there, which seemed to genuinely put him at ease, but I convinced myself that it had something to do with their sales. Then he requested me on Facebook one night. I thought it was odd, but him and his wife were his profile picture, so I brushed it off thinking he's just a very involved coach. I thought back to how much he knows about everyone in class and how in class we all kind of talk like neighbors, and I chalked it up to that. But then he followed me on Instagram and DM'd me about class to see if I was enjoying it, congratulating me on how well I was doing. The same day, he asked about my dog, sending a pic of his dog. The next day, he sent a selfie that wished me well. To all of this, I just kind of kept it the same professional, girly email tone. You know the one, where everything has an exclamation mark on it. But then the selfies continued. He checked in on me often, wishing me well. He'd ask a question, and if I didn't respond right away, he'd double or even triple text saying, "Have a good night," or "Hope tomorrow's good," or "So nice talking to you, have a good rest of your day." And in the beginning, I'd apologize about not seeing the text or responding or getting to my phone fast enough. Then we'd DM a little bit more, and when I didn't respond, he would do that same type of thing again, where he almost wanted to end the conversation on his terms. It seems like he was and he wouldn't just let the conversation stop mid conversation. It had to end on a, "Well, good night. Well, nice talking to you. Well, see you tomorrow." She says, it continued like this maybe about a week, and then the messages started to kind of dwindle off as I began to think there's no way he's doing this with everyone. Also, the selfies stopped being just in the daytime in the car. Some were at night when he was laying in bed. And it caused me to think, where's your wife? How are you texting and on your phone so often? Who does she think you're sending selfies to? Then one night, I was getting ready to go out with my friends, and he was DMing my phone a little more than usual, sending far more photos than usual, too. The conversation was just about the day winding down, and he mentioned getting out of the shower. He sent a picture where I could tell he was shirtless. Then he brought up body hair, asking how I felt about it. Now, I don't want to lie. At the time, I was pretty high and honestly having a really hard time distinguishing if this was all normal or not, or if I was reading too much into things. The conversation goes on, and he ends up sending a photo of his stomach while he's in joggers or gym shorts or something of that nature. Then he sends a photo closer to his body with the top of his dick kind of pulled out, asking if it looked hairless enough or something. I remember rushing to get ready and feeling like, God, this is so weird, but I didn't want to make him uncomfortable, and I honestly kind of felt embarrassed for him. I felt awkward is the word that I would use. I didn't really say too much, just trying to avoid the thing I knew he obviously wanted me to talk about, hoping he'd get the hint and put his member away. I tried to act overly innocent and oblivious, and for some reason I was nervous to make him feel uncomfortable or shamed. But instead, he just kept sending the same photo, different angles and closeness, but 4 more times. I finally said something along the lines of, who even cares? Who's going to see all that? And I brought the conversation to his son's birthday party the next day. I asked if he needed to go to bed for it because was he getting up early? I brought up his son's birthday party knowing his wife planned the whole thing because I overheard him talking to another member at our gym about it, and I was hoping that me bringing it up would kind of turn him off and he dropped the whole thing. The weird thing is, at this time, I just wanted him to stop, but I didn't want him to be mad at me or stop being friendly to me at the gym. I just wanted to be viewed as a friend and not a sexual object or sexual being or even just a woman. I just wanted to be a person to him. Time went on, and I actually got more and more upset the more I thought about it. How dare he, someone who works there, when I just started working out there, try and get an okay for me to send a dick pic? The head coach at that, married at that, with a 1-year-old at that. Then he texted me one day, seemingly feeling the heat from me thinking about him. He texted me asking if he made me uncomfortable. Again, me with people pleasing and not wanting to make the gym feel weird if I still wanted to take his classes or anything. I said, no, I wasn't uncomfortable, just surprised. You have a family and I'm not that kind of girl, and I'm surprised that you thought I might be. He didn't even try to deny the attempt at cheating. He just said, sorry, and I hope you didn't think less of me as a person or coach. No excuses, no explanation, nothing that him and his wife might be separated, nothing really. Just reassurance that I could always let him know if something he does makes me uncomfortable. I remained polite and even lighthearted through the texting, and still I don't really even know why. He hasn't really texted me since, but I updated my profile picture on Facebook and he liked it. The same day, he reposted his wife's photo, and something about that just irked me. I forgot to mention, he's very Christian. He talks about his church, talks about his men's group. He mentions Jesus in his caption and bio. He just went on a mission trip to a different country. So the whole thing feels kind of like, how dare you? And why do I feel like the bad guy if I were to report him to HR or his boss, or if I tell his wife when he's the one who made the choice to be unprofessional and try to step out of his marriage? Why am I the one worried about hurting his feelings or making him uncomfortable, worried about protecting my image of remaining nice? Why am I worried about him feeling embarrassed or mad at me? The thing is, I feel like the wife already knows. How are you sending selfies with the flash in bed at like 10 p.m., phone parallel with the ceiling? But just because I think she knows, does that make it okay not to tell her? I feel like by telling her, I feel like I'm playing God. If she has an idea that he's cheating and I tell her, then she can't continue to ignore it. I'm not letting her have a choice to really keep her current life. There's no going back, and it's not up to me to decide if she deserves better, even though she most certainly does. I selfishly feel like if I'll tell her, then nothing will change, and then I'm uncomfortable at this new gym. Not that I'm a victim, but I feel like if I tell her, do I have to also tell his boss too? And that becomes an even bigger thing. At the end of the day, he just sent a photo, and I'm not trying to downplay his actions, but I feel like that's how things get handled with white men typically. Nothing's that big of a deal. I don't know. What do I do? She says, if by the grace of God, his wife somehow hears this and knows it's about her, then I'm so, so sorry, and I believe you deserve better. I do. I look at your picture a lot on Facebook now, and I create stories in my head, and I know that sounds crazy, but bear with me. I think about what you might have wanted to be or who you wanted to be when you were little. I think about who you might have been if you met someone else, or maybe who were you before meeting your husband. I think about what it was like when you first met him, what you saw in him when you were the only one. I think about how he might have been different then. I think about how you're truly stunning, and maybe if you didn't have such a young kid, I would want to say something more, but it sounds like you already do much of the parenting, and I can't tell if I'm more selfish for telling you and giving you one more thing to handle, or if I'm more selfish from keeping it from you. I told God if I run into you in person, I'll say something, but even now, I don't know if I'd be brave enough to do that, and I'm sorry again. So, listeners, what do you think she should do? On one hand, there's like this part of me that wants to scream, tell her, and let that be that. It has nothing to do with you, truly, especially, and I don't want to hurt her feelings by saying this, but I don't think you're the first woman he's tried to cheat with. I don't think you're going to be the last. I say that because of him not knowing you that long before a, attempting to move it from platonic to sexual. I also say that because he didn't fight for you in any way. He didn't ask that you don't tell anybody. And he didn't make any excuses for himself. He moved on from it very quickly, quite honestly, meaning he's probably moved on to the next person, or he probably already had people at the same time he was flirting with. And a lot of times people will try to blow up their life because they're unhappy. And instead of just taking the initiative of being the bad guy, or like, not that this makes him a good guy, but instead of someone just saying, I'm unhappy, I don't want this anymore, and having to shoulder whatever guilt that comes with, they look for all these other things to do that instead, all these other vices and coping mechanisms. And if that's the case, I could see how someone doesn't want to play into that. It's like, I don't want to use the saying be a man, but it's like, be a man and handle your marital issues head on. Don't use all of this. Don't use someone as like a little chess piece. I could see why someone wouldn't want to play into his game. I also kind of agree that the wife maybe has an idea about something, because a wife's intuition, a woman's intuition, is rarely wrong. And if he's so comfortable, and maybe this is just me and all my crazy ass friends, but if he's so comfortable following a young girl on Facebook and Instagram, not really worried about if his wife's going to see him liking stuff or seeing who he follows, or he's not worried about his wife looking at his phone or messages, or if he's able to send messages all throughout the day and late at night, it's like, not only where are you as a husband, where are you as a dad, especially if they live together, I guess. I think what the sender's biggest fear is that she doesn't know the whole story. She doesn't know if they're together, separated, living together, living separately, living in different rooms. And has their marital stuff already kind of been figured out? And it's not like he has to tell her that before. I kind of get the dilemma of like, why say something if they already have their own thing figured out? But let's say that they don't. If I was a wife, I'd want to know. And I know not everyone is the same, but maybe the wife is looking for that last bit of evidence to really leave, or to know that he hasn't actually changed, or to not get back with him, or to start a new life. Like, maybe she's waiting for that. Maybe this piece of information could do that for her, could free her from that. Like, the sender is looking at it as one more thing for the wife to handle. And indeed it is another, what is the word I'm looking for? I guess there's another equation to fit into the little formula of life, okay? And it is, undeniably. But sometimes everything has to fall down to come together, Sometimes it has to all fall apart to create something more beautiful and better. And you could help her do that. Ultimately, I could say that having people that will support your decision either way is very important. Having people that will be in your corner if you do decide to tell her that, very, very important. Make sure you have your own support system. I know some people listening feel like maybe it's not that big of a deal, but feeling like you're blowing up someone's life, it feels like a big deal. Even though he's the one that, technically would be in the wrong, he's the one that promised for better, for worse, and promised, loyalty and honesty. But I think especially for women, it feels very easy to blame themselves when they are the messenger. I so hope that people write in and give me advice to give to you. I so hope people comment under this video on wherever they're listening about what they think or experiences they had like this. If you have been an experience like this, if you have been the wife of a man who was cheating, or a woman that is was in the same situation as our sender, please, 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 I beg you to comment below on how things played out, what you wish you would have done differently, what you wish you did sooner, what you wish you didn't do at all, or if you know someone that could relate or give any good advice, send this episode to them, because I have never been in a situation like this. So every piece of advice I'm offering is solely off of hypotheticals I'm coming up with. I love you. Good luck with everything. And thank you again for sharing this piece of your life with us. If you are still listening, listeners, please like, comment, share, and subscribe on whatever platform you're listening on. It helps the podcast and it helps me continue to keep going. Happy Thursday, my loves. I hope you are having an amazing day. I hope you have an amazing week, and I hope you feel inspired to write in a letter of your own. And I actually really liked the format of this letter, this kind of this new kind of approach of writing letters in to us. I know it doesn't really fit the title and everything, and I know I'm no professional, but if you don't want to write into anyone from your past, write into me. I would love it. And you could do so by visiting the link below, visiting the link in bio on YouTube, the link on the Instagram, Dear X One Last Thing, no dots, spaces, underscores. And yeah, I don't know why I feel so flustered. I'm really caught up with this story, I guess. But I'm going to think on it a little bit more. Okay, I'm just going to have to end it here. Otherwise, I'm going to start ranting and rambling about every possible scenario and thing that could go right or wrong. So I love you so much. Don't text your ex. Text me instead. Goodbye. Until next time.